A new year and new round of safer cars for India crash test. The cars in question are the duo that share their platform, drivetrains and many components. The Nissan Magnite and the Renault Kiger. Both cars are built on the Renault Nissan CMFA platform for compact cars. The Magnite arrived in India at the very end of 2020 and the model tested is the base variant, as in all NCAP tests. Make or break product for Nissan in India, a lot riding on it. And yes, it's got a great reception in the market. People seem to like this car because of its price positioning as well. So there was a worry then, is there a compromise on the safety front? Luckily, the score reflects otherwise. The Magnite has achieved a good 4 stars for adult occupant protection with an 11.85 score on a maximum 17 points. The car was tested in a frontal offset crash test at 64 km per hour and there was no side impact test. There is a concern on the level of injury seen on the driver's side dummy's chest area. On child occupant protection, the Magnite's score is low at just 2 stars, and the key reason is the lack of ISOFIX child seat restraints in the rear. The model also lost points over the lack of electronic stability control, or ESC, a lap seat belt instead of a 3-point system for the rear middle passenger, and no side head impact protection as standard. Now the Magnite's alter ego, the Renault Kiger, and coming on the heels of last year's good 4-star performance by the Triber MPV, my expectation was high here too. So the Triber score may have been a surprise, a positive one, but therefore it set the expectation now for the CMFA platform to do a lot better, both with the Magnite and the Kiger, and the good news is it hasn't slipped up. The Kiger has also managed an impressive 4 stars and in fact beats the overall score of the Triber and even the Magnite. On child protection, it is a similar 2-star performance, and the car was tested with child seats strapped in by seat belts, not ISOFIX. So, similar scores, right? So it's an interesting situation where, of course, you always have lots of cars coming off the same platform, but these are really twins in every sense of the word. And it's the interesting part, the fact that they've been crashed at the same time. So you'd think that with the same platform, the same production site, same assembly line, the crash performance on these cars would be identical. Well, that is the assumption, but we do need to find out if it's true. Like the Triber, the Kiger's body shell also received an unstable rating. This has to do with the chassis construction at points like the door sill, for instance. The Magnite's structure, though, got a stable rating. So there are differences between the two cars, even though they share a platform.
But there are some parts of the structure themselves which I've noticed a difference. For example, the lower beam, or basically the side structure, the lower beam area, both cars are different. In terms of the behavior or performance they have, let's say the way they behave from the frontal crash, they show a little bit of a difference, but in terms of the global performance, they don't show large differences as well. Question mark will be, what will be the case if we are testing these two cars on a side impact? We don't know how these two differences are going to actually perform and which one's going to be better.
When it comes to child safety, remember it's a crucial part of any crash test because we're talking not just of adult occupant protection but also child occupant protection. And in most cars, you would think that that's covered by just a kind of recommendation on the actual child seats from the manufacturer. Now, we've seen that in many of the recent results where we've either had a good score or a bad score depending on the structure and also those recommendations themselves. Now, here in the Kiger, there's a very peculiar situation. If you look at the recommendation on the website that, consumers have a chance to look at, one of the things listed in the safety equipment is ISOFIX, child seat anchorage. The car has it, and yet when this test was carried out, it was carried out with belted seats. And the reason for that is because while it does have the ISOFIX, back here, the top tether, you have the little loop that comes around and, the strap that fixes in. It is here, it is back here. It's a little low, but for what it's worth, it's back here. But it's behind this fabric. And I can't understand that. It's on both sides. It's behind the fabric. So as a consumer, you'd have to, cut that open to get access to it. Doesn't make sense, and it doesn't really add up in terms of why the company would actually provide the equipment and then hide it.
Global NCAP is expected to tighten its India test protocol to include side impact testing in the second half of 2022.